Okay, guys, so we talked about previously in the previous question this idea to do with I think gunfight is a kind of a weird passage, but hopefully, guys, in terms of the technicalities of the question, it wasn't too bad. And if it was bad either way, guys, hopefully my explanation has made a lot of sense. But now, guys, we're moving on to the next question, 25. So it says if more workers worked only 4 days each week, there will be fewer commuters and therefore less traffic congestion and less pollution. Also, fewer people would be unemployed because there'll be more to go around. There's evidence that part-time workers are absent from work less often than full-time workers. So a person working a 4 day week would be more productive. Less work means less pressure, which means less stress, and people would be happier. Which of the following can be drawn as a conclusion from the above passage? So, guys, pause the video, give yourself a minute. Be sure to be back after that minute or so, and then we could go through the solution. Okay, guys, welcome back. So let's go through this. It says if more workers worked for only 4 days a week, there'll be fewer commuters and therefore less traffic congestion, less pollution. So even though you can kind of view that as his opinion, that is probably more on the facts, isn't it? That is true. Like, as in, if less people are going around to work, there will be less commuters, less traffic congestion, and less pollution as a result. That means, guys, we can just cross all of this out. So cross, 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 cross. And then it says also fewer people would be unemployed because there would be more work to go around. Again, this is likely fact. This is likely to be true. Um, and then it says there's evidence that part-time workers are absent. So without even reading the rest of the guys, it says there's evidence. Remember, when it says this research showed or the study showed or there's evidence, this is more likely to be, he won't be lying about evidence because he's using that to back up his opinion. So this is more likely ought to be fact. So there's evidence that part-time workers are absent from work less often than full-time workers. But then that's the evidence. But then the next one is likely to be fact. So a person working a 4 day week would be more productive. I might think that I might not think that he might think that. So this is likely just to be more his opinion. And less work means less pressure, which means less stress, and people would be happier. Again, even if that was an opinion very weak, more likely to be kind of more of a fact, right? So this is true. So basically, guys, hope you can appreciate he's basically saying that a 4 day weekend is good. Like you should promote it. Although he's more passive in his tone about that. He's not saying we have to do this now. He's just saying it has benefits. So kind of you could kind of have to consider it. See, hopefully, guys, you can understand the gist of the paragraph. It says then, option A: people choosing to work a 4 day weekend would have to take a 20% pay cut. Just look at that passage, guys. Does it say 20% anyway? No. So this is immediately incorrect. And then it says there will be less pressure on health services if most workers are on a 4 day week. So it does talk about there's evidence that part time are absent from it less often. But even then, guys, like that, even that has really nothing to do with it, and really it doesn't really mention anything about health and health services in this paragraph. So that's wrong. The economy would be more competitive. People worked more productively. So it is promoting, it is saying that if you work 4 days, you have more productivity, but there isn't then the other link that more productive means economy would be more productive. You kind of have to do some mental work to process that. Although it's probably true, it doesn't say that in the paragraph anyway, so this can't be right. And it says the government should enforce a 4 day working week. And E says there would be many benefits to working a 4 day week. So can you see the difference, guys? One is really demanding, saying the government has to do this. Whereas the next one, the E option is saying it is kind of good. And that's really the gist of this paragraph. He's promoting it, but he's not saying we should do it now, like it's a must. And nowhere in this paragraph, guys, does it really talk about government. So it can't be D. And that means then hopefully you can understand, guys, in this question, E is the correct answer. So hopefully, guys, I hope that has made a lot of sense. And yes, really look forward to seeing you in the next video. All right, guys, so welcome back. So previously, we were looking at this question, guys, to do with the promotion of a 4 day week, which actually I'm quite a big fan of that idea. But hopefully, guys, you can, that wasn't too bad. Hopefully, this was more clear than most of the other questions. And yes, guys, now we move on to the next question, 31 of the same paper. Says a comparison has been made between fast food restaurants and factories. This is not as unrealistic as it might first appear. Fast food is mass produced as heavily processed as any other factory product, and restaurant workers have jobs which are just as routine and boring as those in manufacturing. So not only does fast food taste the same everywhere, but all workers involved are on low wages and have little power to improve their conditions. And then it says, which of the following best expresses the conclusion of this argument? So guys, pause the video, give yourself just over a minute, be back after that, where we're going to go over the solution. Okay, so now, guys, let's read this. It says a comparison has been made between fast food restaurants and factories. Here is just kind of stating an observation of what people are comparing between. This is likely just to be all fact. Just cross that out. And it says this is not as unrealistic as it might first appear. Right. So this is clearly his opinion. So he's saying I'm observing this, but then he's saying I'm thinking this is actually is not that unusual. So this is clearly his opinion. And then now, guys, this is probably of the passage where his opinions at the start, and then he's just going to fluff it out with reason. It says, fast food is mass produced as heavily produced as any other factory, but and restaurant workers have jobs which are just as routine and as boring as those in manufacturing. Again, um, this is just reason, isn't it? So, and all of this, guys, uh, even though that that part it says and restaurant workers have jobs which are just as routine and boring as those in manufacturing, that could be his opinion, but it's clearly not as more opinionated than the previous one, isn't it? Yeah, so this is all, you can just treat it as a weak opinion slash fact, or just things he's fluffing out his argument with. And it says, so not only does fast food taste the same everywhere, but all workers involved are on low wages and have little power to improve their conditions. Again, that might be his opinion, but hopefully, guys, you can appreciate we've kind of located the most opinionated sentence, right, already, more or less, unless there's something really strong which says we should be doing this or something like that. That's the only thing that's really going to beat that opinion. And the rest is just all reason, even though if that's an opinion, is going to be really weak, because reason is mainly just reason. So we can just cross this out. So basically, guys, from that, then we know that the conclusion should be something along that it's not unusual to compare fast food restaurants to factory food, if you like. Yep. So it says, best expressed, and then it says, A, workers who do routine and boring jobs are often poorly paid. Yeah, it does give that. Firstly, it doesn't really talk about all boring jobs. It just gives two examples. That's why this one's definitely wrong without us even considering it further. There's mass production leads to poor working conditions. Nowhere in that sentence, guys, or in that passage, sorry, does it talk about mass production in factories. Yeah, it doesn't talk about mass production, and it doesn't really, and even if it did, doesn't really even link it to poor working conditions, so it can't be that. Next is not unreasonable to compare fast food with factories. That's clearly, literally, we didn't even look at the answers, guys, and we kind of came up with that. This is likely to be it, but we can just consider the other ones. All fast food tastes the same because it is heavily processed. Yeah, nowhere did it mention that, guys, so you can just cross that out. Working in a fast food is no different from working in a factory. Yes, it does give the idea, but remember, that's just talking about a really specific part of the passage. He wrote this really, that's just one of the things he was using in his arguments to say that it's not unrealistic to compare fast food and factories. So can't be. So hopefully, guys, you can appreciate then that C, in this case, is our winner. C is the correct answer. So hopefully, guys, that has made sense. And as always, we look forward to seeing you in the next video. Okay, now, guys, so previously we were looking at question 31. Question 31 was talking about compare fast food restaurants and factories, saying that they're more or less the same thing. But hopefully, guys, that question made a lot of sense. But now, guys, we move on to the next question, question 37. So it says, the general public cannot understand laws and legal documents unless they are written in clear and simple language. Therefore, the traditional style in which laws and legal documents are written must change. The citizens in a democracy must be able to understand what their legal rights and duties are. And which of the following best expresses the conclusion of this argument? So, guys, pause the video, just give yourself over a minute, just a bit over a minute, and be sure to come back after that. We'll be going through the solution. Okay, guys, so let's read this. This says, general public cannot understand laws and legal documents unless they are written in clear and simple language. So again, this could be, so far, I think this can be his opinion, right? But there's something better in treat, as you probably realized when we were reading this initially. I'll just put that down as the opinion so far. And then it says, therefore, the traditional style in which laws and legal documents are written must change. So that's clearly, like, literally the conclusion. This is the strongest thing ever, guys. That's bingo, essentially, isn't it, guys? Because it's really demanding. It's a really demanding opinion. Like, it must change. You must do this, and also just to build up to it, guys. It says he gave that reason. It says, therefore, this is my opinion. Okay, so hopefully, guys, at this point, you're really clear with that being essentially an undefeated opinion, and more or less now, guys, you already have the opinion. And then it says citizens in a democracy must be able to understand what their legal rights and duties are. Right, so again, here you can say that's a strong opinion, really strong opinion. I actually argue that the previous one is a strong opinion because he's asking for change, whereas the other one, he's just saying they must understand this, whereas this is being much more demanding, right? So that's going to be a much stronger opinion. So you can cross this out. So therefore, guys, without us even looking at the answer, we know it's going to be something along the lines that the style in which laws and legal documents are written has to change, right? It has to be something along those lines. So the A says there must be a change in the style in which laws and legal documents are written. That's pretty good so far, and that's pretty much probably going to be it. But we can go with the other ones anyway. It is necessary in a democracy for citizens to know their legal rights and duties. Um, yeah. So it does say that citizens must be able to understand what their legal rights and duties are. But remember, guys, the strong opinion is the previous one because it's really demanding a change, whereas that one just demanding a type of thinking, right? Is citizens must be able to understand, right? So, but that hopefully you can understand, guys. Why brackets off is going to be much stronger because it's literally asking for someone to do something. So it can't be this one. And it says many laws and legal documents are written in old-fashioned and complicated language. So you get that idea, but nowhere does it really talk about um, complicated language, and it doesn't really talk about how it's currently written. So it can't be that one. The general public can fully understand only those documents written in simple language. So it says cannot understand unless they are written. Yeah, so that does refer to the first part. But remember that we clearly outlined, guys, that that's nowhere near going to be the strongest opinion. That's more that even you can argue that's more of a fact. Um, so this can't be it. And it says if citizens can understand laws and legal documents, they will be able to play their proper role in it. So hopefully that one, last one, guys, that one's just definitely wrong. It doesn't really talk about their roles in democracy and stuff like that. So this one is pretty clear and straightforward. I hope, guys, the answer in this one therefore would be A. And this is really just the point, guys, that even though this is, I think, the last conclusion question in this paper, question 37, even though it's really at the end, it's not too bad. So really, you're going to have a mix. You might start off with a really hard one at the start. You might have some easy ones at the end. So don't be disheartened, guys, if you do your paper and some of the early questions are really difficult conclusion questions. Don't be disheartened by that. But hopefully, guys, either way, that question made sense. And yes, we look forward to seeing you in the next video.